Okay, the second part of our research topic is finding the 7 sources, or 5 to 7 sources. It is 15 points. The due date has been changed until May 1st. So we have a couple things that we're going to be looking at between the 7 sources, the annotated bibliography, and we're also looking at the CRAP test. So just kind of want to go over those real quick. We're going to start off with the 7 sources worksheet. So as I'm thinking about the information about my topic, I want to start looking for information. And I can find that. Sorry, I'm speeding through this. By starting to look at my subtopics. Okay, so if you look at the source 1, for instance, we're really looking at, well, what type of sources, where does it come from, where's the article. We're going to be also really taking advantage of ezbib.org and ezbib.com and bibme.org. So we just recently talked about my topic being restorative justice in high schools and what that looks like. And I'm really getting to know that myself. So I'm interested in the topic. So to really simplify things, I am starting to collect this information. One of the things that I've changed is I have put this research paper information packet in Google Classroom. So you will be able to utilize this in Google Classroom and make your own copy of this. I think it's really beneficial if you do that, because then everything will be on one document. You can cut and paste the things that you want to start really paying attention to your sources. So it's kind of a long process, not going to lie about that, but it doesn't have to be painful, especially when you're looking at, the stuff that you are interested in. So I want to talk about a couple features. So I want to give you a look of what it looks like with the in Google Classroom. So you will see research paper for you to fill out. You can click on that. Every student has a copy. So you can just open that up like I have. I have my own version. Notice right here it says OLET research paper editable. So I've made it my own. And then the second thing that I also want to mention too is on the assignments, I want to go to the other one real quick. On the assignments, you will see a video link that is next to it that shows the research videos that I'm making for you guys. So take advantage of those, please. All right. So we're talking about restorative justice as the topic. And I basically go into Google and I Google it. So I really want to focus on high schools especially. So there's a couple things that I noticed here. It says examples of restorative justice in high schools. So I may want to come back to that afterwards too. Notice that everything just really, all of these things start showing up as soon as I start typing. So it is literally going into every single one that interests me. I kind of read along to see what are they talking about. 8 tips for schools interested in restorative justice. That sounds like a really good one. Every time, so what I do is I give a brief overview to see what it's all about. I kind of read a couple of the paragraphs. It's an effective alternative to punitive responses from wrongdoing. So this part is right here is giving me a definition of what it's about. And then 2014 School the Guidance Package of the U.S. Department of Education. Arne Duncan says the need to rethink and redesign school discipline practices is long overdue. So the zero tolerance policies. So the commentators may seem like the answer to bad behavior in the heat of the moment, but they're not. This is a short-term fix. I really like this article, so I definitely want to use it. So I am copying. I'm going to put it in my research paper information here. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the title also. Another thing that I want to do is I want to open EasyBib or bibme.org because I want to keep an account. Also, please do not forget that you want to take advantage of the MLA format, and I'm really looking for MLA 8. So it says to cite in MLA 8, click here. And then it says journal website. Most of our stuff is going to be on website, so you want to click to make sure that you have those things. So right here is exactly where they want my URL address. I search my website. I'm going to select this. Go down a little bit. So they're not sure about the publisher sponsor. However, I do. It's edutopia.org, and that's what I will put in there. So right now it's going to give me some boxes. It's a little hard to see in the all white format, but so our contributor is up there, website, publisher sponsor is going to be edutopia.org. Gives me the date that it was published. It was before, within the 5-year, which is an exemplary example of a good date. I'm going to create the citation. Okay, so it's nice and neat in here, and I'll come back to it to start adding the other ones so that I can work on my annotated bibliography also. Okay, so I like the information that's coming from the Edutopia website. It goes over how to get started with these. Again, assessing need, engaging school community. It's giving me some statistics here. Hire a restorative justice coordinator, so there's experts out there. So lots of information that would be beneficial to my research project. So I really like this one. I'm going to stick with this one. Another thing that I wanted to do is to make sure that I have an annotated bibliography. So in my research area, yours looks definitely different from mine, but I'm going to open a Google Doc. I want it in the same spot. And I'm going to start creating my annotated bibliography with it. And we'll go over more information with that as we go along. Annotated bibliography for restorative justice. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my bibme.org. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it. Okay. One of the things that you definitely want to do is get rid of the highlight stuff. It's pretty typical that bibme and easybib.org will start doing this weird highlighting thing. Just highlight it, click on none, and it gets rid of it. Okay. I'm also going to see if I can reformat that to fit, and it won't. We'll talk about more about the formatting of that later. So I want to skip a couple lines. I will do it in alphabetical order as annotated bibliographies should be done. I'm going to continue looking for some more sources, knowing that I'm probably going to get a lot of information out of that one though. There's another one called weareteachers.com, Restorative Justice, a different approach to discipline. So that might be a good one. Again, just kind of looking over things. This one, from what I see so far, they're looking at California dropout rate and how high crime and high poverty has caused a lot of dropout. 51% last year. Oh, they're saying that it has improved, which is good. So, some interesting stuff that I see here. Oakland first introduced the restorative justice program in 2006 at the middle school, and it was planned to close the school due to low test scores when it started restorative justice pilot program. They have a program manager, like they discussed in the other one. Give a definition of restorative justice, and then use that for an example. So what I like about this one is it really starts talking about one particular school or school's district and how it has changed the way that they handle crimes at school. Okay, this is a really good one too. And I like that it's showing a different, it's showing more of a primary source information on things that have happened. Although it's .com, which I'm not a big fan of keeping, the primary source story and giving feedback on that is really nice. So as I'm going through this, I do see people's names that I could go back and look at, and it also has an author to it, and including a title. So we're going to go ahead and put that in BibMe. Yep. I love that it finds all this information for me too. Okay. Again, they're not really sure of the publisher sponsor. One of the things that I did talk about when we are looking at sources, we want to make sure that either we do have an author or we have a publisher. Most of the publishers are going to be through that company of the website. So weareteachers.com would be the publisher, unless they say differently. All right. So I'm going to add that in again. It says when it was published, it's only a year old or less than a year old. Very nice. Okay. So again, copying and pasting, putting it into my annotated bibliography form, knowing that I need to write the information on that later. Get rid of that ugly highlight. Goal. So far I have 2 sources. I also want to put the website onto my other page. I want to go back to the document real quick to see if we really need to have. Okay, so as far as this format goes, since we are doing bibme.org, we really don't need to write down all this information because we already have it in our annotated bibliography format. So I'm just going to skip out of this page and just really focus on this one because it's giving all of the information that we need here. It has our dates, it has the publisher, it's formatted correctly. So we're going to go ahead and continue not using the research paper editable piece because we already have it in the proper format. Looking for more. Rethinkingschools.org sounds like a good one. Sounds like they're going into some good approaches here. It says meaningful restorative justice also requires robust funding. It can't mean a high school teacher released for one class period to run the program. So maybe finding some counter information that makes us think of we need to have really good solutions for this. So if you notice the part right up here, it says restorative justice, what it is and is not. This gives us an indication that there's going to be some counter arguments here. So some good information that helps us think, do we need to go back and really look at strong solutions? Because that's one part of our research paper too. So we want to make sure that we're looking at these. So really what I'm looking for is the, so I'm kind of looking and they're showing some personal reflections on, examples of students that have had problems. So here's the information that I'm really looking for. It says, what isn't restorative justice? So this may be where our counter argument comes from. It says, given the strengths of restorative justice, doesn't it make sense to charge full steam ahead? Of course not. Of course, but restorative justice depends on building community, rooting it in social justice curriculum, and integrating classroom practices and school-wide practices. So basically, what this particular statement is saying, that it's not just making up new rules that say, okay, this is what our school's going to look like. It goes deeper than that, and it's asking for an overhaul of the program, an overhaul of how we deal with behaviors in school. So I really like this one because this particular citation is going to give me more information about what we really, really need to focus on. So I'm getting really lucky with these articles. So I'm going to add another citation. So again, I'm really looking at, when I look at the sites, I want to make sure that there's not a whole lot of, really bad advertisements on the right-hand side, or things that are giving way too much information that's probably fake news. So again, one of the things that I'm looking for as I'm looking at my sources, making sure that there was, proper dates